welcome to Scoring a Hit panel. I'm excited to lead this first virtual one in the midst of this pandemic. So I've done this myself a few years back and it was amazing. This is here to encourage the next generation to lead in their chosen field one day in the future. And so I'm going to first introduce each panelist. The first one, ladies first, of course, is Hannah V. Hannah V is a producer, songwriter, hey Hannah, and performer. And the credits are amazing. They include JP Cooper, Stormzy, Lavish K, Layla Hathaway, and an artist called Colby, which we're going to hear all about. As a performer, Hannah, you've performed with Rihanna, Jessie J, and obviously JP Cooper. That's an impressive list, and I look forward to talking to you more. My next lady is the lovely Cleo Tighe. She is going to be with James Newman, as they are married. Okay, so I'm going to just run through this, Cleo. You are a songwriter and vocalist yourself. Your credits include Only You by Little Mix. I vocal produced that one. One Too Many by Keith Urban and Pink, and Zed, and many other amazing pop hits. James, over to you. You are a multi-award winning and Grammy nominated writer. You wrote the Brit Award winning Waiting All Night and Blame by Calvin Harris featuring John Newman, which I love that song. And another one is Lay It All On Me by Ed Sheeran and Rudimental. Amazing. Hello and welcome. I don't know if you want to turn your mic on. I'm not sure if that's done by our technical support in the background. Hello, guys. Hello. Hello. Next is Varren Wade, who is in LA, and I should mention he has just come off the back of a session. God bless you, Varren. It is 6 a.m. there. You're looking fabulous for such a late night. Thank you. So you are the CEO of After Vinyl, which is a record label you have started. You are also an artist and a singer-songwriter, former R&B group member from Fundamental. No boy band mentioned. It's a vocal harmony group. The big one for you was the 4 times platinum selling LMA, and Jennifer Lopez, Medicine, Janet Jackson, Need for Me, Rotimi, In My Bed, Wretch 32, My God, Stormzy, Blinded by Your Grace. So many amazing artists and tracks there. I didn't know I was a fan till I read all that, and now I am. What can I say? Next is the wonderful Rxwntree, and I'm going to shorten that to Tree, so he tells me. You've got my favorite title, Tree. It's composer and lateral thinker.
Yes,
amazing. Thank you. You have worked with J Hus, Skepta, Mostak, AJ Tracy, Emily Sandé, to name a few. And you are classically trained.
This is correct, my darling. This is correct.
I want to talk about all of this, and we will get to that. Next on my list, but sorry, he is last on this, and what I meant to say was last but not least, that came out a bit backwards, is Mark Ralph, producer, writer, mixer. Show yourself, Mark Ralph. Here he is. This is our crew today, and Mark, you are responsible, or semi-responsible, shall I say, for Becky Hill, Space, Jax Jones, I Miss You, Clean Bandit singles TikTok, and then back in 2017, you were involved in 3 of the biggest selling tracks, which were Clean Bandit, Symphony, Rockabye, and Jax Jones, You Don't Know Me, which I just told Mark before we started. I heard that song the first time and I nearly crashed my car because I was a little bit heavy, or lead foot lil. Such a vibe. I love that track. I'm so glad to be hosting this with you guys. It's an amazing thing to be able to still continue to do music in this pandemic. Zoom has been incredible for me. I don't know about all of you guys, but hits are still coming. Hits are still being created. Back in the early part of the pandemic, we had a big single out from Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande, and that was written on Zoom. And I found that fascinating, actually. I've never done it before, before the pandemic. I didn't even know what Zoom was. I'm sure the share prices are considerably healthier than they were. But I just want to start. Varren, I'm going to catch you. I'm going to give it to you early because you know, what for you are the components of a hit record?
Wow. I think to start off with, melody is key. I think that before anyone gets into the lyrics, it's normally the tune that they're humming whenever they recite a record that they've heard. So for me, whenever I'm writing a song, I'm very, very, very keen on making sure that that melody is like very potent, and that it's something that is catchy and something that's memorable and something that, you know, it's multi-leveled, so every age group can catch it. So it's catchy enough for the youngsters and still, you know, catchy enough for the elders as well. So that's incredible. I think I tried as a writer to follow the same thing myself, because if you're writing a song in English, someone listening can't catch those lyrics. It's just phonetics to them. It's vowels. Exactly.
So what's your formula? How do you do that? Are you a Mr. Many Take on the mic? Walk us through the process you follow yourself.
Well, for me, I'll normally just like, first of all, like just start by like just blurting out melodies that come to my head, and whatever the track, most of the time, if there's a track already, you know, just letting loose and just freestyling and see what comes first. Because sometimes, most of the time, whatever comes first tends to be something that is really like usable, because it's your first feeling that the music's giving you. Do you know what I'm saying? So
the first instinct. I find that myself. I don't know about any of you, if any of you guys follow a slightly different formula, but as I say, since Zoom, I've just been like sitting here with the mic, and and if someone, next podcast, here we go. So like, I'll have people send me the track and I'll make a point of not listening to it until I'm ready to hit record. So I agree with what you're saying. I'd like to talk about, maybe, has that always been the case, Mark? Going off what Varren has said about the melody being the absolute most important thing when writing the top line of a track, how does that fit in with what you do? Would you agree with that? Does that tend to be the rule in the hits maybe that you've been involved with?
I very much agree with that. I think when you strip all of the production away from a track, all that you're left with is melody and lyric at the end of the day. And, you know, the thing that makes songs popular, I think, is the sort of compulsive, infectious nature of wanting to hear it again. So you hear it once and you have to hear it again just to satisfy your urge. Once you've heard even the tiniest snippet, you just hear a little part of the melody coming out of a speaker in a petrol station or something like that, and then you've got to get in the car and you've got to listen to it, or you've got to listen to it as soon as you get to a, you know, just because they you know, music's like that, and the excitement of the first time you hear something, or the first time that you really latch onto a song, it's the melody of that song that hooks you in. But the lyrics, the little special sort of turn of phrase is the element that gives the song its identity and its uniqueness. And sometimes it's a combination of the two. Sometimes it's very ordinary lyrics just sung in a very unordinary melodic phrase or melodic sort of twist to it. So I think certainly, you know, the sessions I do, we often start from melody. There's usually something there in the music, you know, some chord progression or some hook that we're writing, musical hook we're writing over. But I think it's also important I always try and write musical melody into it as well, because sometimes that can be as much of a part of the hook in a track. If you took Show Me Love, for example, you know, that song without the bass line is probably only 50% of what that song is, you know. And I think that's true for, you know, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. If you didn't have the guitar chord progression, it would only be half the song it is. So I think you know, Clean Bandit, Rather Be without in it is not the same, you know. It's a huge big part of it. And sometimes those melodies can also be the thing that you sing in your head in the shower or walking down the street in the morning or something, you know. So I think if you put you know, that can be part of the production process, is creating those once you've got a top line, once you've got a lyric, but also sometimes you create that bit first and then you write over that. So I think I totally agree with Varren. I think he's completely right. You know, melody is the core of it, but lyrics as well, you know, are I think just as important in the long run. They give the depth and the meaning, and also we're all musicians. We forget sometimes that we assume that everybody else in the wider population has got the same musical appreciation as us, and they haven't. You know, people don't hear melody the same way that people who are musical hear melody. Sometimes the melody is a distant kind of you know, less important factor, and in actual fact the words are the thing that mean the most to them in a song. That's part of, you know, and so I think I think sometimes you can have, I wrote a song recently that literally started off with a conversation, and just one little turn of phrase happened to spawn the entire song. So one 3 words basically made the song, and the whole song sprang from those 3 words, and there wasn't any melody involved. It was literally an idea coming from a phrase, you know.
That is something I've seen happen time and time again, because I think along with that killer melody, you want to have that title, because nowadays people, you're going to have, what is it, something like 12,000 tracks a day are added to Spotify, and you're scrolling through and you see I love you, you're the one, you think shut up, you know, and then you see broccoli and you're like, oh, what's that?
What's
Do you know
that?
what I mean? We as songwriters doing this in a professional world are now not only having to think of these incredible melodies. Are you finding yourselves now in the studio thinking, right, is this TikTok friendly? How do we make our careers stick in 2020? Like I'm going to go back to you, Varren, because I can see you like what do you want to say? Talk to me.
No, I think that TikTok is a brilliant thing. I won't bash TikTok. I think it's an amazing thing. I do think that there comes moments and times and places where you're going to write those type of songs, and you're going to, the artist that you're with is gonna call for that type of thing. But generally speaking, I personally wouldn't write a song just because I want it to be trending or because you can get stuck in a box. And I feel like even though you want to try and create a hit, so to speak, you still want to creatively be, you know what I mean, free in a sense. I like to say as well, you do have like 10 to 15, maybe 20 seconds nowadays to catch your listener. Yeah. So for me, as well as the melody being key, it's also like that first line or that first phrase that the singer is going to sing, for me, has to be something that really does like make you like stop what you're doing or make you think about, you know what I mean, what's being said, because as I said, that's got to catch you. And if you can get those two things right, the melody and that first phrase, then that, I think you've got the listener. And then obviously the other layer to that is, I would just say lastly, like, I like to write songs and have a conversation. I think that the songs that are conversations, that start with conversations, like when you're in the room writing, tend to, generally speaking, for me, turn out to be like the greatest songs, because as you have a conversation with the people that you're creating with, what you find is that you find this this almost level playing ground. You find this you see eye to eye with each other, and then that sometimes, or a lot of the times, translates to the general public, because most people are feeling, you know what I mean, similar things within the spectrum of conversation. So
certainly, no, I think that's you're talking about it from a place that's like, you know that actually does make a difference. Hannah, your career is fascinating to me because you kind of do everything, and I doing my little bit of homework that I did for this panel, I read everybody's bios, had a little stalk of your Insta, you know, as you do, and I came across your freaking fabulous website, and I was like, my God, she's a star. The photographs, it's slick, it's got videos of your performances with Rihanna, with, you know, JP Cooper. your track listing. Is that important for you in the process to be the brand? Talk to me a little bit about that.
You know what? I do think presenting myself in a certain way is important because I basically don't like going out and I don't go to industry parties. I just don't like that scene. I'm a hermit. I like being in the studio. I like being in front of my piano. So I had to find other ways of letting people know who I am. Do you know what I mean? And what I can do. And that's why socials for me personally has been so great. And yeah, so I find like, you know, it's a way of presenting yourself to the world, you know?
Yeah.
And again, I don't like to overthink it too much because ultimately I'm here in service to the song. I'm here in service to music. I approach it all quite holistically, you know, and you know, like, yeah, I got great pictures because I've got a great photographer and a great makeup artist. You know, we all know it. Let's not get it twisted. It's, you know, we all have, you know, but it gives me an opportunity kind of for people to immediately see, like, this is what I'm about. This is what I do. This is what I can bring to the game. This is what I believe in, you know?
Yeah, no, it seems so important these days because everybody's looking at it, and we are sometimes a commodity, aren't we? And people, I mean, as a writer, I'll look at Instagram and think, oh wow, she's in the room with her and she's in the room with him now. Wow, who are they? And then I'll go and have a little look. So it's just it's horrible and amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
So in your process or in your journey, talk to me about how you've maybe seen a song that you didn't necessarily think was a hit become a hit. Have you had any experiences with those firsthand?
You know what? I look at it all slightly different because I think the word hit is a weird word for me, you know, because we're not in control of what connects to the world, what connects to the feeling of people right then and there. All we can do is do the best that we can. And for me, my most successful songs, what you guys were saying too, were ones that were done genuinely, where the intention was right. Do you know what I mean? Where I got in a room with my friends or people that, you know, we respected each other. Somebody had a topic in mind or had some chords or somebody, you know, like whatever. There's so many different ways songs are created. And those are the songs that feel real are my most successful songs, you know, and they can be like the hardest tracks. Doesn't mean doesn't have to be like an emotional piano ballad. Not talking about that. Can be the most gully shit ever, you know, but it has to be done with the right intention, with people you know, F with. Do you know what I mean? Like for me personally, that's how I work. That's what works for me. And so, yeah, some songs, you know, like have hit later, have hit initially, but I kind of don't watch that because once it's out, what can I do? It's out of my control, you know? And as long as I've done the best I can and presented the song and the artist and the singer and all the elements in the best way possible, that's it, man. That's my job done.
Yeah. So you, with these songs that you when you're explaining, thinking in your mind of these particular ones you've worked on, have you worked on those as a producer and a writer?
Yeah, I mean, again, because I'm not a lyricist, so, but because I'm a pianist, a lot of tracks start around the piano, you know, so it's kind of people, I think people really appreciate that, you know, I've played all my life, so I can, you know, go anywhere I want to. People can just sing a melody. I can go there. People want to change the key. I can do it like that. That's my training. That's my background. So I very much, you know, get involved. Well, I produce and, you know, start the process of the song a lot of times behind the piano.
Got it. That's the sharpest tool in your box. And I think all of us probably have something that is our niche, and that's obviously your niche. Tree, I'm going to go on to you because I would love you to talk to me about your secret life in the past as a school teacher, and how, tell me, did you go from being, now get this right, music and IT teacher to a producer at your level? How does one follow this winding path?
You don't sleep much for starters. So
okay. Well, you just started with I haven't slept with 3 days. I thought Varren was going to be tired, but he's you know, he's wide awake compared to you, mate.
Throughout lockdown I did 2 albums, so it's like I was kind of on a break, and then I had a camp last week that we just finished on Friday. So yeah, it's been a bit of a busy time, but Yeah, so basically, I've been a teacher. I was a teacher for 9 years, living a double life. So I would literally drop my daughter to school, then teach from 9 till 5, then go studio from like 7 till 4 or 5 in the morning, and just did that for like 4 or 5 years repeatedly, and battered my body out.
I'm quite fascinated that you aren't divorced. I don't know what your circumstances is, but I think if I did that, like, it'd be hard to keep a relationship. Obviously, that's I'm just talking about fluff now, but that is very inspiring, because to have that tenacity, you know, we all need to sleep, and it sounds like you didn't get much. I mean, do you think that helped your process to be, you know, sometimes I get a little high, and I don't mean like that high, I mean like you feel a little bit.
Do you know what? Like, where I grew up in Hackney, my next door neighbour was Piers from Rudimental. 2 doors down from me was Leon from Rudimental. I started teaching with Kezi from Rudimental. It's like all my friends were just doing music. I was like, this is what I love. So I was like, I'm not gonna sacrifice and live this normal life. There's more to life than this.
Yes. What did I saw the other day? It was a great meme. It was, if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes the sacrifice. Yeah. I mean, I'm a wiser woman for looking at Instagram for that, for God's sake. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? And did you do the teaching because it was a way to make ends meet while you were trying to be a producer and writer?
No, it was. I really like teaching. I like to share the knowledge, and I find working with people that are younger than me keeps me young. Yeah. So like, I was learning the new genres, teaching that. So like everyone's working with Drake now, and it's like, it's good to see someone that I've taught go into that level of, he's now a global producer now. So it's like, for me, it was like staying youthful, working with these kids, training them up, showing them how, look, I've just left the studio, this is what you need to do. Helping them avoid reading like silly contracts and whatnot. It's just, it was therapeutic almost.
That's amazing. And it's almost a little bit altruistic, like helping people at that level. Like, it's very, you know, it's not just self-serving, it's serving that next generation. And that's why I like doing this kind of thing too, because if I can impart any wisdom on this journey, then I would love to, because it is not easy. I don't think anybody on this panel would go, yeah, I've had a great, it's been easy, it was given to me on a plate. It's just not the way it works, is it? And you know what, people that go up, you know, you see people out of nowhere that just have a hit. It's like a fluke. Seldom do they have that longevity, because they haven't had that climb and made those contacts, and you know, that kind of thing. So that's really interesting. I've got a little comment here that's been sent from, we've got the chat panel. Thank you for everybody who's watching at the moment. I hope you're, you know, soaking all this knowledge and experience in. I certainly am. So I think it's Zed Katarina. Please forgive me if I have misread this. I've got Eduardo Alliston. So it says, not only are you not in control, I'm not reading this right, but what sort of hit does it become? A hit that is on the charts now for a few weeks or months, and then 5 years later is forgotten. I think depth matters for the longevity of a hit. Okay. So I think reading between those lines, I think that what's being said is just commenting on maybe what Hannah, you were talking about depth of lyric, or just that authenticity, maybe coming from the artist, that is what will give longevity to a song. Maybe that affects, does that James, for you, genre, Waiting All Night, it's not a particularly deep lyric, but as soon as you say Waiting All Night, I can hear the melody in my head. Do you think genre really has certain, should we say, tick lists of what the elements need? I think all of them, there's a certain amount of that melody. Like, do you know where I'm getting at?
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of like Waiting All Night was part of like a style of music that kind of, you know, it was in its own little thing, wasn't it? Like my brother did Feel the Love with Rudimental first, John. Yeah. And then and I wanted to like create something that simple and you know, like something that's like really infectious and hooky, but like it's not like complicated. So we kind of like had, I mean, it's got like 14 or 16 lyrics in the whole thing, and we just use the same lyrics, but like for the verse to put on the hook. And
yes, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on, sorry.
And I think that, yeah, well, I mean, I've always tried to do that ever since, and I can never seem to write another song where it's that simple. But I think like what you're saying about like the way the melody just hits right, and like that kind of energy that Rudimental put on it, because like when me and Ghostwriter first wrote it, we sent like a kind of, it sounded like a merry-go-round drum and bass song, and then they really added like a vibe to it, and it was, and you know, and I think that all the way the melodies hit and just like the kind of feeling of it seemed to like connect with people, and it was part of like a little thing at the time, I think, so that really helped.
That's incredible. I'd love to hear your original demo if you've got that laying around. Maybe play for everybody. I just going on from what you just said about you just said this, I think it wasn't it your first hit, Waiting All Night, your first one, right? Yeah. And you said you've never done something like it since. Is that because you're overthinking now?
Yeah, because I think at the start I was working in a restaurant when I wrote it. I kind of wrote it in my head, just trying to like write a hook that kind of went round and round. And I didn't really know, I didn't really have a formula because I was so new to kind of writing, and I didn't really have a formula to putting songs together. And I wasn't like, I didn't like know much about how songs should be. I was like, well, why can't it be like that?
But
and now, like,
you think that went in your favor then? Because I think as songwriters, we become a wanker songwriters, don't we? Oh, it's got to be this high chorus. Like I do it myself, and I just think no. You know, just
now like you can't rhyme you with you and stuff like that. You know, and it's like why not? You know, like there's so many rules that you put on yourself for no reason. And I think back when I first wrote that, I was like, there was no rules, and I wish that I could just kind of let it go a bit and just kind of try and do that again. But it's difficult because you're always working with like amazing people, and you learn so much. And like I've had the opportunity to write with some of the best people in the world since that came out. So you kind of learn all these formulas and ways of putting songs together, which also is amazing because, you know, there's so many ways of making a song and getting a hook or an idea, or getting to those points and stuff. But it also, I feel like it definitely hinders me from writing something as simple as Waiting All Night ever again.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to learn and then unlearn.
Yeah.
Go with your, you know, you gotta kind of be that vessel of just like whatever comes into the mind, you know. I have a question from the panel, and this one is much more simple. I've got all lovely questions coming through. Love this. I love a bit of interaction now. It's not quite Minority Report here on my screen, but there's a lot of stuff flying. So the question I would like to direct to Cleo. Now, what is the best way for a songwriter to get their demos heard by the right people?
I feel like I was trying to think of a way to answer this one, because I saw a question of that before, and I think it's just like there's not really a rule. And I think you just have, for me, it was just doing it over and over and over again and sharing as much as you can. And I think now, like, you have so many outlets to share your music. You know, you can share it on Instagram, you can share it on TikTok and stuff like that. Like you can just release things on Spotify now and people will hear them. And I think maybe it's about just doing it and just having quantity out there and people will hear it. And I think also, like, for me, it was collaborating with like-minded people. I know in school I didn't have any friends that were like into music or anything. It was really just me on my own. And then when I got older, like I met people that were like-minded and that I could collaborate with. And through that, you meet other people who they might know, people who they might, and it's kind of like almost the more the merrier in that sense, because then there's more people pushing the same thing, if that makes sense.
It certainly does. I can relate to that, finding your people, finding the people that bring the best out of you. Definitely. And I think what else I could take away from what you just said about that question is putting your music out there. That we are so oversaturated, aren't we, with, you know, we're bombarded for new tracks, new artists. Every time you look at something, you've got, you know, 25 new messages. The viral top 50 in the US, the global chart, everything, there's music coming from everywhere. So unless you feed into that somewhere, I don't I don't know. I think if I was being asked that question in 2020, it's not just a simple do this and do this, is it? Everybody's journey is going to be different. Would you say that? Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, please.
I was going to say you have to be confident as well, and not be scared, because I always now I'm always so scared of everything, and like, oh no, that's not right, that's not going to be good, like I'm rubbish. but before I just started out, I was like, oh my god, like I can do this, I can do that, like I love this song, and I think you really have to tap into that and just like believe in what you do, and have the guts to share things, knowing that you can always delete them. Like eventually, if you really do look back and think, oh dear, like you can just go delete and then start again. And I think so much of it is about not being scared as well to just do it. I think maybe I'm rambling, but
you're not rambling, because I think all of us have had this ourselves. I can see everybody's heads. We get in our own way, don't we, as creators, because we're second guessing. Oh, is my manager going to like this? Is my publisher going to think that's too much like the last song? I'm sure I've got 4 songs with the same title, just because it's like an idea I want to get right. Like I keep wanting to scratch the itch. Like it's a funny one, isn't it? So no, everything you said makes complete sense to me. Now I've got an amazing question here about taking risks. I'm going to direct this to you, Mark, because I'm trying to just make it very even. I hope I'm being a good moderator today. How do you handle taking risks with songwriting? For example, are you affected by the musical landscape's trends or direction, or do you just make what feels right and let the world make its judgment based on this subject?
I think that's a very good question, because it does, in some respects, depend on who you're writing with, who you're writing for, and whether, let's say, for example, you're doing an entire album with one artist, and you're responsible for generating the songs as well as the production, then you wouldn't want to have 10 2.5-minute pop songs necessarily on that album. You'd want to be a bit more adventurous on some that you knew weren't that necessarily going to be pushed to singles, to give you a bit more of a journey in that in the context of a whole album.
Right.
So in that respect, you probably can be a bit more adventurous and take more risks and be a bit more self-indulgent as well on certain songs over the course of an album than you would necessarily if you were sitting there writing a song knowing you've got to try and get it on the radio. And I think it's important, even when you are making music that you want to be, reach as many people as possible and to be as big a commercial hit as possible, to still push the boundaries of what you think is the norm, because I think people respond to what sounds exciting to people are things that they haven't heard before, or something that if
I could just interject, Mark, I'm interested in what you're saying. Do you think that there's a too far? There's like, oh, that's a bit new. There's a new thing.
So you soon find out, because you get your record rejected by the record company and get told that you've gone too far. Yeah, I mean, but in some respects as well. I mean, I work on records in differing stages of their development. I sometimes I start the record off and somebody else finishes it. Sometimes I start it off and then I see it all the way through to the end, and sometimes I come in at a certain point where the record's only 50% complete and I've got to either do a bit more writing on it, do a bit more production on it, or to mix it. And in those situations, often I prefer to take it too far. So I prefer to sort of be told, oh, it's not doing this, it's not doing that. And I go, okay, I'm going to make it go that far over there so that I know that'll be too much for everybody to handle, so that we can then row back a bit and be bold and be adventurous and be, you know, take the risks and go, okay, well, what happens if we go like that with it? And then everyone goes, ugh, that's too much, but can we just go about halfway? And then we end up somewhere where we've probably taken it as far as we can take it, for everybody to be artistically happy with it and for the record company to be satisfied that it's still commercially viable. Whereas if in that situation where I have to complete something, if I'm too timid with it, then it just doesn't quite hit the mark. It doesn't take it. It doesn't take it where it needs to be. So I think in actual fact, I think we do all take risks, but there's just a different varying level of risk based on the situation that you're in and who it's for and what the record needs to be, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's incredible. Like to hear from you what your thoughts on this, because it's just so fascinating how every song has a history, has a story, and it's just amazing for me to hear all of this. I have a question about this kind of like topic, which is basically, if 10 people tell you a song is shit but you believe in it, have you ever given up on it or changed it, or were they right? I'm going to go to you, Tree, on this one.
Yeah, no, if I believe it, you know, it's for me, once I've got a feeling about the song, I know it's a hit.
What's the feeling? Describe this, because
there's something humanly that just connects with you.
Okay. And you know, that's a hit, like that's the #1 record.
Yeah, because for me, there's two types of hit. There's a real hit, which is like feeling, that's never going to change whenever you hear it. And there's like a hit that's marketed very well.
Got it.
So like all the stars aligned for that one song. The market was great.
Yeah.
The film came out for it and it became a hit.
That's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah. So I believe there's a marketing hit and there's a real hit that's just feeling forever. We hear it 10 years time. I remember something like Waiting All Night. We've all been waiting all night for something, whether it's a cheeky kebab or something or whatever. Waiting to remember something.
So it's like kebab.
I miss kebabs, man. Damn, bro.
Yeah, so
Aaron, for me, you must be able to find them in LA. There's got to be something.
There's no kebab places, mate. There's no kebab places out here. And if there is one, you can probably find a falafel, but not a dirty kebab. You know what I mean? Getting let out the club late. No, you can't find it out here.
But there's good toss-ups in LA, right? Chicken and waffles. There's good stuff that you don't really get here. That, you know.
I mean, chicken and waffles is starting to come in the UK everywhere now. You can get that in certain places now. So.
Oh, hook me up.
Yeah. Try East London. I'm sure there's a few spots over there.
Okay.
Anyway, we digress.
Who doesn't love music and food? My two favorite subjects. We should do our own. We could do another panel just on snacks in the studio, couldn't we?
Sure.
Yeah, totally. Okay, here's one for you, Hannah. Do you think top line and hook writing, and I know you'd say you don't do lyrics, so maybe from a melodic aspect, it's something that can be learned or improved, or is it a natural thing you're good at?
Everything can be learned and improved. Every single thing in life. Do you know what I mean? Like we all go around. There's a misconception that talent is just talent. The most successful people in music, they have worked at their craft every day, constantly. There's always heroes that we can never come close to, but we just want 5% of what they have. You know, everything can be learned. Everything can be. We can all. And for me, that's what I find so exciting. You know, like. I'm a pianist. I trained at the Royal Academy of Music, blah, blah, blah. I did all, but still I feel I'm at the beginning of my journey. Same as a producer. I've put in my 10,000 hours and then some. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm so excited about all the things I'm yet to learn, you know? Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like, everything can be learned. And don't be afraid to ask questions. It doesn't matter how experienced you are, man. If I see somebody doing something at the piano, I'm the first person to run over and be like, show me how to do that, please. I still have lessons, you know? I just think, learning is a wonderful, beautiful thing. And the second you think you know it all, music ain't for you no more, man. Music is always going to kick our ass. The second you think you're good at something, you hear a song where you're just like, I don't know how to start even recreating something like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's what we all aspire to. Okay, I've got a question from AJ Sunny, and it's basically, he says, I am a spoken word artist and a poet. I have a disability called autism. I am releasing my first spoken word single very soon. I'm going to be shooting my spoken word video very soon. And it's asking, are you always looking to work with new talent or unsigned talent? For an artist like himself, is there any way you could mentor me? Also, is it easy to get a publishing or distribution deal? How can I keep in contact with you? Are you looking for people to unsign to collaborate with? Now, obviously, he's self-releasing, so AJ Sunny. So I'm just going to call you AJ. I hope that's right. So a couple of you have your own labels, and I think, Mark, you've got your own publishing. Because you want to develop, new young talents. So who am I correct? Varren and Ralph, you're doing your own ventures like that.
Mm-hmm.
I called you Ralph, didn't I, Mark? Apologies.
All right. A lot of people do.
So just based off what AJ was asking about himself releasing, he's still wanting to collaborate and obviously do stuff like that. Like, how would somebody like that connect? Like, what's been your experience so far? Varren, I'll ask you.
What's been my experience with connecting with other people, or just
new upcoming artists that are unsigned? Are you looking for them, or did they find you and smash them, throw their music over the fence so you hear it?
Do you know what? I'm always searching and diving into the wonderful internet and finding like loads of great talent. And I think that the internet and social media has really opened up the world. And obviously now with COVID and the current situation that we're in, you're finding like Zoom calls and all these different things are allowing creatives to create differently than we used to. Sometimes we're like, no, we've got to get in the room, but now it's FaceTime and Zoom calls. Yeah, I'm always looking for fresh new hot talent to work with, because I'm a strong believer that, as Hannah was saying, like you're never the best you can be. You know what I'm saying? And you can learn from someone who just started writing yesterday. Okay. Their mind or something that they say could open you up in a way that you never thought you could be open up to. Really? So I definitely would collaborate with new artists. And I think there was one other question.
There was a few questions in AJ's. Let me just find it. I was just reading through. There's so many great questions coming through. Thank you everybody who's participating. I'm such a chatterbox. I'm just going off what's being said rather than focusing a lot, and I'm going to ask many more questions. Let me find it from.
I'll jump in on what you just said as well.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Jump.
So, I think AJ's got autism, right?
Yes.
Now, I've taught a lot of kids that have autism, and I think he said he's got a disability. I don't even like to call it a disability. It's just an ability. So throughout the whole of this lockdown, I worked with an artist called Mostak. He's got autism as well, and it's such an ability because the way we counteract and his memory is crazy for melodies and notes, and even going for a comp of like 64 takes. It's like 63 was the one, take the first and the ending of it. So it's actually an ability. So it's like we got to get rid of this word and just leave it as an ability. So
that's incredible.
That's beautiful, bro.
Wow. I mean, you've just hit the nail on the head. We are so restrained in our thinking sometimes about people and their abilities, disabilities, whatever we call it. But music is, when we create, it's that lack of thinking, isn't it? It's feeling. Music is what a feeling sounds like. And so for Mostak, however, his incredible Rain Man-esque comping abilities, remembering the takes, whatever it is. And for AJ, I don't know how your autism affects you, but that's the thing. It should not restrain your creation. It shouldn't restrain your creativity. Wow, that was quite profound there, Tree. That's amazing.
It's a superpower, man. Like
superpower. Amazing.
Everyone I'm in contact with autism has this crazy memory for songs, melodies, facts, and it's just like, if I ever had my own PRS company, the whole workforce is gonna have this disability called autism, because it's just crazy. They're just super talented. So big up AJ.
That's amazing.
Big up AJ.
Definitely. Wow. So I'm going to go to Cleo for this, because I kind of know what you're going to say, and then we're going to spark a discussion about it. Zoom. We started off by saying we're on Zoom because we're in a pandemic and we can't do any face-to-face anything. And it's been, for me, I maybe can speak on this for a second because I am a songwriter and I've got 2 little children. So having the studio here and being able to just jump on Zoom has been incredible. Now, Cleo, we chatted briefly the other day when I was asking you and James about being on the panel, and you were saying that you didn't really like working on Zoom. So
No,
I want to so the question is from Brunette Music. It's, how does everyone feel about writing over Zoom during lockdown? I like to be heavily involved with the production side as well as writing top line, and I find it takes 10 times longer to create a track. Any tips? All right, I have something to say. I'm sure everybody does. Cleo, start with you. So you hate it.
well, yeah, I do hate it. But I also think like I hate it, and at the beginning I was really stubborn about it and was like, I'm not doing it, I'm not inspired, like, and I think everybody will agree that every single person writes completely differently. So I've spoken to some people that absolutely love Zoom because it works for the way they write, and I've spoken to other people who absolutely hate it. But I think it's like if you don't feel like you can write the way you normally would write on Zoom, then it's hard. But then I also think then you're just your own worst enemy. And to begin with, I was like, I hate it, I'm not doing it, I'm just gonna wait. But then I also think that that's like kind of just like no one cares if I hate Zoom. They'll just be like, okay, cool, well there's loads of other people that do like Zoom, so we'll just go to the ones that like writing on Zoom, and we won't bother with Cleo Tighe because we don't care. So not because they don't care, but it's like there's so many people that want it, and I think for me to have been that stubborn, now I'm a bit more like, okay, cool, I'm gonna like just make sure that I try and enjoy it as much as I can and like find a way for me to enjoy it, because otherwise I'm just shooting myself in my own feet. So
totally. And I think what's lucky is I want to help you as a fellow writer, but anyone listening who, Cleo, I don't know what kind of writer you use because we haven't yet had a session. I'd love to do that maybe on Zoom. Like, are you a sit down guitar vocal? Are you a much more organic kind of writer?
It's not even so much about that. It's more about when I go into a room, I'm always quite like, I like to work out all the personalities in the room, work out where to kind of I feel like there's some writers that are amazing at going in and being kind of like the energy in the room and being like, this is what we're doing today. Whereas I'm a little bit more like, okay, I'm just going to work out how everyone feels and is everyone okay? And right, where shall I like step in? And I like to know like when to speak up and when to say something and when it feels right to suggest a lyric or like, and I feel like it's not as easy for me to do that on Zoom. And sometimes it's a bit like, I don't know how to interject or how to read people, and I think I really base it a lot on that. So
can I chime in on that if that's okay?
Oh, please chime.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I just had a chime when you said chime. And
that's funny.
Well, we're going to come back to you, Varren, but
okay, cool.
Mark, I just would love to get your quick comments on that because I know you have to run at 4. Mark's sadly leaving us. I don't know what the hell you think you're doing, Mark, but no. But Mark's going to be jumping off the call. So if we could get your final thoughts on the Zoom thing, Mark, because I think it's so relevant for collaboration now. I mean, thank God for this vaccine. Jesus Christ. Yeah. We will have some normality returning, but you know, we may realistically be working like this for the foreseeable future.
Well, I think like the Zoom has at least demonstrated to everybody that it is actually possible and it is viable. And I think until you were actually forced to do something, people all shy away from it. I can't imagine there would have been the enthusiasm for working remotely in any industry, in not just music, before the pandemic. So I think that's possibly one positive thing. It's going to make things possible that perhaps people wouldn't have bought into before. I did a vocal with Ian Dior the other night, you know, the guy on the mood record, and that was totally not, it wasn't ideal in any, he was in LA and we didn't have a proper talk back. It was, you know, just trying to sort of cobble it together, but we made it work. And I'd have probably 12 months ago just said, oh, I can't be bothered, let's just do it when we can do it, you know. And so I think it's making people a little bit more willing to use the technology a bit more. Okay. I personally am with Cleo on this. I hate the idea of it. I don't like the sort of time delay of, you've got an idea and you can't just suddenly just butt in and interject like that. You've got to, you kind of got this time delay thing that doesn't work so well. But so I was kind of saying no to all of them and just getting on with other things that weren't, didn't have to, you know, have that Zoom, you know, connection. And then I did one record. I just went down to James Arthur's house, and Corey Sanders, who I'd never worked with before, just happened to have somebody in his house go down with it, so he couldn't come, and we were forced to do it that morning. And we wrote one of the what I think is one of the strongest ones that he's got just over Zoom. So that sort of changed my mind, and it just made me think, oh, maybe I'm just being a bit, you know, unnecessarily sort of negative about it. And then I did another one with Jin the other week, and that worked out really, really well. And so I do think it's possible. I think one thing I would say is it tends to work a bit better, I think, when the people know each other really well. So when the other person over Zoom is really familiar with the people in the room and they're confident enough, like Cleo was saying, to not have this slight kind of apprehension about jumping in and interjecting, then I think it can work. So I'm a sort of reluctant convert to it, even though I think I've probably only done 2 Zoom sessions in the entire pandemic, so I haven't done a load of them, but I'm not as sort of negative about it. And moving forward, even after the pandemic, if something arose where someone said, look, this person can come in on Zoom, I'd probably be a bit more receptive to that idea than I would have done before we'd kind of had to do it. So
oh, sorry, I didn't want to say that. Sorry, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I hope that sort of answers your question.
No, it's a great answer. It's definitely from what I've seen, and I use something called audio movers, so I'm running my mic in Logic so people can hear me in HD, and I feel like I'm in the booth. But what I need to get going is I need the tracks. Because my side, and people are going, this bit, love that, boom, boom, boom. So there's a process that's working, but I've had absolutely disastrous sessions. Like I worked with David Guetta and Becky Hill, maybe the biggest session of my life. I wanted to die because he was the artist, but I was the only one who could record. So it didn't work. So
no, I know. I mean, speaking of audio moves, I just mixed, and this is the first time I've done it in a mixing context, but I would definitely use this quite a lot moving forward. I did that, you know, the James Arthur Segala one. And I'd worked with Segala on the Becky Hill one before anyway, but we didn't do that via audio movers. But we did do this one by audio movers, and I was mixing at the same time as him being on Zoom. So he was on Zoom on a separate computer, and then he was on audio. In fact, I had 2 different Zooms, one on the main computer, one so that he could see the Pro Tools screen, and the other one so that he could see me and talk to me. Him sitting in his studio, me sitting in mine, and that's actually better than him coming to my studio because he knows his own studio really well. I know my studio really well, and he's sitting there. I mean, obviously I have to do the main bit of it first, but then when we get into the tweaks, it just saves so much time, and he's not listening to it in my room, then going away and going, oh, actually, this isn't right. He's listening to it in his own environment, and it's coming through 24-bit WAV quality via audio movers. So I think on that front, I would probably do more of that, to be honest. But that's not songwriting. That's more when you get down to the mixing. But people being in their own environments. I don't think before audio movers we really had a proper facility to listen to things in full quality in the other studio remotely before, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even with that delay, it's a tricky one to figure out sometimes, but someone's going to invent it and they're going to make a lot of money. I think it's NASA level shit to get this. Like, I don't know how we can not.
No, it's 6G will be the moment.
6G.
6G.
Some sort of conspiracy why this COVID thing is just so they could put up the 5G masts.
Yeah, the 5G masts. 6G, you're going to be able to get feeling through the internet.
Okay.
So you can actually touch something and it feels like, you know, you can transmit touch and feeling, basically. I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, Mark, I'll book you for a session. We can give that a go. Do you know?
All right.
All right. Well, thank you again so much, Mark, for joining and imparting this wisdom to us and all of the viewers.
Well,
and
it's been lovely to meet you all as well, Hannah, Tree, Varren, James. Nice to see you, mate, and Cleo as well.
Nice to see you, bro.
All right, and you, Maegan.
Thank you so much, Mark. All right, have a great weekend.
And you and everyone else.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So we just got halfway through you, Varren, with what you were going to say about Zoom. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
No, I was just I think Mark actually touched quite a few of the points, but I was actually going to say, like Cleo, I had been opposed to it myself. And actually hadn't done one, but then as she was talking, I kind of like had this similar feeling with the whole being in the room and wanting to kind of gauge the room. I'm the similar type of writer. I kind of like want to kind of fit in the right position in a room of people, you know what I mean? Because it's very important to be sensitive with creativity and with creators, because like the wrong kind of energy, especially if it's given out by yourself, can kind of like swing a session in the wrong way. So I'm fully like with her with that point. But as she was talking, I was just thinking that Zoom sessions can actually be really, really cool if you do know the people that you're writing with, like Mark was saying. So I think that for anyone who's out there who's actually watching in, if you do, you know, get on a Zoom session, maybe it's good to have like a rapport session before you actually have the session, where you can build rapport with the people in the room, and you can actually just speak about general things in the world, and you can kind of gauge each other's personalities, and you can find out a bit about their life, you know what I mean, their mom's name and stuff like that, and that can kind of like bring down the walls, so you can then get into creativity, you know. That's
a great idea, Varren. I really like that. I kind of like you, Cleo. I like the human element of going into a room, but I think doing a small session, like you working with someone who's just sent you tracks with your headphones on, can feel quite intimate and quite, you know, you can feel kind of close. So it's been fairly successful for those kind of ones. To me, when you've got too many people, that's when it's like nobody knows. Okay, thank you, alarm. Mark has left. Okay, God, scared me. So no, that's amazing advice, Varren. Doing like a little chat can just to break it up, see if you've got a chemistry. I mean, people use this for dating, so why not? If you can fall in love over Zoom, you can write a bloody song.
It's true.
So, Hannah, what about you on Zoom? Tree, tell me, do you guys love it, like it, hate it? What are your thoughts?
You know what? For me, it's just like it's like normal life, and it's like normal sessions. Some Zoom sessions are dead, exactly like what you're saying, Maegan. Like, and it's nice then. At least I got a bottle of wine right next to me, because I'm like, I can't even deal with this, you know. And some, especially when you know the people, it's great because everybody knows their roles, right? And so, you know, whatever, you get the track, I send over the track, then the guy, then one of the writers is like, all right, I'm going to mute myself for a second, I'm going to cut a quick vocal, send it back to you. I've always got the master arrangement, and then people keep sending me parts, and I keep building it together. And if you work with people, you know, you build, you don't only already have the rapport, you also build a system that works, you know. And that's really important, you know, because we've kind of learned studio etiquette in real life, right? We know, you know, you go in, you meet each other, you start a track, top liners do their thing, producers do their thing, then you come back together at the end. We're still figuring out these processes in Zoom, you know.
Very much so. Yeah, we haven't got a status quo yet, have we?
Not yet.
Doing slightly different things, aren't they? That's really great. I love you've got your bottle of wine. It's like, you know.
Listen, especially when it's LA sessions, I'm like, it's 10 o'clock anyways, you know, like I might as well.
I know, 9 o'clock starts, no, definitely. What about you, Tree? So I know you just came back from your studio. Are you doing Zoom from there? Are you having people like social distancing?
I'm kind of lucky that my studio is really, really massive. So we operate this at the studio. So it's literally, we've got an aux that runs literally from one side to the other, and we're allowed to literally have the balcony open. Like it's with me, I'm a great producer, but my main skill is making people feel comfortable.
Okay.
So it's like that makes them open up and say things and express certain things and like almost let their guard down to be a bit more vulnerable. So it's like that is my gift, and that's how we get the feelings out of the song. So I like to connect feeling and physically. That's my gift. With Zoom, it's great, and like I think it only relies on me knowing you, because otherwise you might misinterpret my energy or whatever. It's like
But I think you're definitely a person I could just jump on. Let's just do a track. I don't think you're selling yourself short, my friend, because I reckon we could just get a vibe going and start something.
No, agreed. But I'm saying in the room it goes up another 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you done any Zoom sessions to now?
I think 1.5.
Okay. Okay. That's funny.
Jealous.
Amazing. So James and Cleo, luckily you lovely people are locked in a house together. Have you been writing together?
Weirdly, we don't write together.
It's so annoying. It actually works so well together as well.
We started an idea in the first lockdown. We started an idea that we haven't finished yet. But it's kind of weird when you're at home. Like
it's so weird. We don't talk about music.
No.
Well, it's, like when your whole life to be consumed by songwriting. Just because we're both songwriters, it doesn't mean we're like sitting with a guitar every night. But the good thing is we both understand like each other's kind of anxieties and like we both have the same kind of problems in our life, I suppose, are same kind of emotions, which is good. And you know the same people, and you know the way that you can feel in the morning before you go into a session or stuff like that. So I think that really helps us.
Yeah, and you can just mute the Zoom session and go and find the other person and say, "Help me."
Yeah.
Or sometimes, one of us will listen in the door and just hear someone struggling with the lyric and just go, say this.
I don't know.
I'm like on Zoom in the kitchen and Cleo's like texting me lyrics and I'm like, what about this lyric, guys?
no credit. Just because when you're like, that feeling, you're just like, I just don't know.
That is hilarious. Oh my God, that is so funny.
We actually do sessions together, so we're going to try and do more. I know it's kind of bad, isn't it? It's kind of like...
it's kind of crazy.
Isn't that what Womack and Womack did? Weren't they married? They had some hits back in the day.
I love Womack.
We do write well together,
Newman and Newman.
One other thing I would want to say about the Zoom thing that I forgot to mention, which is a positive thing, is that sometimes you can focus too much on Zoom being about the song. And I have actually found that Zoom has been amazing for me in actually meeting people. So when I was doing Zooms with like people that I didn't know or hadn't met before that were in LA, it's actually been amazing because you have to spend so much money to go to LA and like be there. And then people don't want to see you or don't want to work with you or cancel on you. And it's amazing to make those relationships. So then the next real life trip you do, they'll be like, cool,
I always make the joke, Cleo, that I'm a camp hoe. Like I've been on so many camps. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I love meeting people. Like me and Hannah will be best friends. Me and Cleo will be best friends. Varren Rxwntree will be drunk on the, at the bar, but we won't write anything then. But when I come back the next time, we'll do the session. So it's like, it's so important, I think, to do this kind of networking, which leads me to this amazing question from Tighe. Okay. So I don't know if Tighe is a guy or a girl. So what advice would you give to your 24-year-old self is the opening. And then he or she goes on to say, I'm 24, I'm a songwriter, top liner, recently moved to London, feeling a bit overwhelmed with how to start establishing relationships within the London music scene, especially in a pandemic when it's not easy to meet new people in music anymore. No gigs, music events. This is a problem, Tighe. I totally feel that. I think the thing is, when meeting people at the beginning, it was all online, even back in the day, because I'm only 21. But like actually back in the day, like there was MySpace and stuff. Like I was networking with people online and putting tracks up and sending stuff to people going, do you want to work? Do you want to work? Do you want to work? Like it was never a face-to-face thing, like at the very beginning of my career. So I don't feel that should hinder you, that, you know, that you're not actually in someone's physical space. What advice would you say, Hannah, on that topic?
Okay, so a couple of things I want to say. So first about kind of the whole making connections, and this is something, Cleo, you touched upon early. We're all so concerned about wanting to work with so-and-so, about getting to this room, getting to that room. Forget it, man, build your own room. That's one of the biggest lessons, and that's what I would tell my 24-year-old.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
I always want, because, you know, we all do. You look at someone who's written a hit or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, if I could just get in then I could prove myself. Forget it. That's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? We work with the main people we work with are our friends. You know, because there's a social element to it. So no matter how many people hit me up saying they want to hit the studio with me, I'm more or less going to say no to like 95% of it, because I want to hang with my friends. Yeah? So this is the room I've built, and it's all the misfits, all of us that didn't belong anywhere else, all of us that weren't getting called for sessions. And I was like, screw it, I've got a studio. Come around my studio. Let's do it, you know? So that's what I would say to my 24-year-old. Couple of things. I'd say build your own room, and also say comparison is a thief of joy, man. Listen, don't compare yourself.
Say that again.
Comparison is a thief of joy, you guys.
Hannah, you are the Oprah today.
Listen, I think about this stuff all the time, because stuff came to me at a later stage. Do you know what I mean? It took me ages when I was a session player. It took me ages to get gigs. I would only get hired for miming gigs because, you know, I'm female. You know what happened? I worked at it. All of a sudden, I was in Rihanna's band for a year. Took me longer. Yeah, but when I got there, I was at the freaking top on my own, you know, like, and I didn't cut any corners. It was purely based on my skill, nothing else, you know. So we have to be patient. If this shit is for us, it's gonna happen. Sorry, I get so passionate talking about this, but I believe it so much, you know.
The passion is inspiring. Everyone, I think, has witnessed a little bit of a revelation to a lot of us. You know, even I've been doing it a long time. Hearing it out of your mouth, Hannah, just hit me in the face. Build your own rooms, because I started going, I want to work with Max Martin. Like Max
Martin.
He was Max Martin before the Britney song. He was doing his own thing with his own people, and he's still doing it. And he brings in talent. He brings in talent here and there. Like maybe this is where, Varren, you talk to us about your label. Is this why you did it? Or Tree, did you?
Oh man.
Just
wait,
blah, 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 whoever wants to speak, go.
My one's really short, basically.
Go on, Raj.
I'm a firm believer in this, and it's like, just do you to doing you becomes cool. That's it. The time's gonna come when your thing's cool, and just make sure you're ready. That's it. Do you to doing you becomes cool. That's it. Over to Varren.
Have strap lines for this. That is, we've had
Definitely.
Sounds like an album.
Yeah, 100%. Like this, all of the icons had to break through at some point. They weren't always up there. Gaga, David Bowie put out 7 or 8 songs before he broke. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. You know what I mean? All of the people we look back and go, oh, they're such an icon. They weren't always an icon. They were probably the one that nobody wanted to be like, until everybody wanted to be like them. It's amazing. Varren, what were you going to say?
No, Hannah and Tree just pretty much hit the nail on the head. For me, I think when I first started out, what worked for me was attaching myself or connecting myself with like one producer.
Okay.
That's how, and that for me helped me to grow my craft, because I think a lot of us want to just be in the system straight away, and sometimes we do need to grow our craft. Sometimes there's, you know, little edges that need to be smoothed out, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that you're not good. It doesn't mean that you're not talented. It just means that you have to be patient, and eventually the system will open up for you. It will get out of your way. Do you know what I'm saying? For me, I built my label because as an artist, I wanted to, do you know what I mean, capitalize more and earn more and have more control. over my music. I also have my fiance, she's also an artist, so we work together and write. So when Cleo said that the guys don't write together, I was like, no, it's actually great. You do bump heads, but it I don't know, it creates a great template to, you can make some really great music when you're writing with your partner. But yeah, finally, I think I would say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So at the end of the day, what am I saying when I say that? It's like, there can be the most talented person that you're looking towards to be like, oh, I want to be just like this person, I want to work with that person, but you don't know the amount of work that person's put in to get there. No. So at the end of the day, you have to work hard. You like, that's the main point. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how well you can play an instrument, how well you can sing, how well you can write. If you don't work hard, there's going to be someone who's going to outwork you and who will take your spot. It's just that simple.
True. Wise words. Tree, please.
Yeah, Varren's just got some gems there. I need to follow on one because one of my mentors, Richie Montana, does a lot of engineering for Tighe and everyone else. He's always like, just always think critically, and it's like there comes a point in your career when you actually think you're ready, but you're really not. It's like enjoy the journey till you actually are, because you're going to get thrown into a room. Let's say you get thrown into a room for you weren't ready for that, and then you kind of like fumbled your bag. So just like, even though you feel you're ready, critically think to yourself, am I actually ready? Do I have the skill set to deliver to the best of my level? So it's like, enjoy the journey. Yeah,
that's incredible advice, incredible words from all of you about this. I'm going to go back to the questions from our viewers. Let me ask you, James Newman, when you were starting out, how did you make a living while working on your dream?
Well, I always used to like work in restaurants and pubs and stuff. So I do I was working like 50 hours a week in a restaurant, and then like, you know, getting like Monday and Tuesday off, or working nights, so you'd have the day to kind of try and write in the daytime. But I did find when I was like working that I'd like have a lot of inspiration in my head, and I'd like meet people that had come in, and I'd be chatting to them and who were in music and stuff, which is always good. But I'd always like sing as I was kind of like waiting tables and stuff, not like the singing waiter or anything like that. I would like always be thinking, because it's like you have a lot of time in your own head, you know, and I mean, I actually came up with the hook for Waiting All Night in my head in the restaurant, and then like
amazing.
And then like when it came out, I was like finishing my last shift, and it was like on the radio, which was pretty crazy.
That is absolutely nuts. Hannah, have you had any experience like having any jobs to support?
Yes, like everyone. So any hotel or bar in London that's got a piano, trust me, I've played them. So I did.
So you were able to use your skill, because that's, I find.
Yeah, but it still sucked, babe, because it's like 5 hours to like super rich drunk people, and then the second I got a bit too drunk, I'd go really jazzy, and they'd be like, can you just calm down on the jazz? It's like, Jesus Christ, you know. And so it's like, and then take the night bus home, you know, and then teach. I taught piano in schools, and then I also worked part-time at a label. I think Tree, that's where I met you first. Listen, we do what we have to do. It is what it is. And the crazy thing is, not once was I was just like, I'm working in music. I had no idea where my career would take me. And I was thinking, I was proud of myself. I was like, I'm still living in London, paying my bills, doing music. Yeah, it's not glamorous. Yeah, it's a bit like, you know, it's hard work, and it's long hours. But I'm doing it, man. So listen, we got to do, like you said, sacrifice. It's real.
It is. This you're amazing. I'm so impressed. Cleo, any dodgy jobs? Come on, tell us.
Well, I don't know. I did used to actually make cakes for people, and I'd get paid for it. And I was really good. I was so good, and I would make all the little roses out of like fondant icing, and there would be edible glitter on them. They were the pretty insane cakes, and I would get paid for it. But other than that, I didn't really have, like, and they were good. I can't do it anymore.
I know.
I actually practiced and grilled the cake instead. So, but
it doesn't work out.
I also I never really went out a lot either. Like, music was what I did, and I was lucky enough to be found young. So I was still living with my parents at the time. I guess I got into it young, but yeah, I just literally didn't do anything else, to be honest. So I didn't really use any. That's it.
That's quite unique as well, isn't it? Because it does usually take a little while and some dodgy jobs. I know I've had a few. I've got a question for the top liners, the songwriters. So this is from Molly Elisa, and she says, I've been told some of my songs are too wordy and I need to cut down. What tips would you give to write less? How do I know what to take out if it's taking away from the song or adding to it? Good question. Good question.
Wow. I think
go on, James.
Just kind of going through it and seeing if like little filler words need to be there and stuff. If you can make if you can make each line more of a statement kind of thing, instead of it being like you don't have to have a but and a and and a the and everything kind of leading you into like each line. It can just be like boom, 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 and just cutting stuff out, and maybe like more repetition in lines, like, you know, like sometimes in a chorus you don't need to have loads of different lyrics, you know, you can just repeat more than you think you can. You don't have to keep changing the lyric and maybe repeating more in verses and stuff like that, and like having repeated words maybe is a thing I would do.
That's a good tip. Varren, did you want to add to that?
How to simplify a song?
How to taking out words that are unnecessarily. You obviously are a fan of the melody-led writing.
I mean,
go ahead.
I'm a melody guy, but I'm a big, huge fan of lyrics. Like, but I know that you obviously need to have a catchy melody so people can get into lyrics. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But for me, I think that there are more ways than one to say something. So a lot of the times you might think da 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 is the way to say it, and you could literally simplify it, but you could actually simplify it and say it 5 to 10 different ways.
Okay.
It's limitless. And then what you can do is if you have a phrase that is saying one thing, you can think, okay, well, what feeling or what mood was I in when I thought about that or when I felt that, and then you can actually like start like using objects to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like to kind of like replace certain words and stuff like that. There's just so many different ways to do it. I don't think there's one particular way, but as James said, like just taking out the ands and the buts.
Yeah,
that tends to help.
I think so often, I used to do it myself, is like putting too much in a song. It's like you're putting those main anchors in, those little like hooky parts and words that you remember. Like if they don't stick, sometimes they're not the ones. You know, if you hear a song on the radio and you hear it 3-4 times and you can sing all the words pretty much, that's a good lyric because you remember it visually. And, you know, I say it's like putting furniture in the room. Is she wearing a red dress? Oh, we don't know because we don't talk about any of that. Or do we want her to be a real dress? You know, do you know what I mean? Like what do you want to tell people?
To add to that point, it's like sometimes you can get quite layered with it, but sometimes you just want to literally say it how it is. Like you literally want to, as you said, she's in a red dress, because you want to kind of like create the picture for the listener and not let the listener have to do too much work per se. And then also something I tend to do is like writing a story, like each word connects like seamlessly, like not kind of like going too many different places. So if it can feel like a conversation and it just keeps going and keeps flowing, oftentimes what having the listeners is locked in. Someone who does that really well, I don't know if you've heard of her, if anyone has heard of her, but Ingrid Andres, she's like a country singer. Yeah, she's got an incredible song called More Hearts Than Mine, and the way she writes this record is literally mind-blowing. Like I ask everyone who's out there watching to go and listen to this song, and she literally just tells you the story in the most simplest way, but by the time she gets to the end of the hook, she says and if we break up, you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. But the way she does it is just incredible. It's like one of the greatest songs I've heard in a good long while.
Wow.
So
I'm
gonna say again.
I was on a camp with her when she wrote that song.
Oh, you was, bro. We need to connect because I need more story. Like she's my latest like songwriter crush, because like the way she writes is incredible. Like her album, I think it's like a love story backwards. I think I'm not mistaken. She's just incredible. Like she's someone. Someone's asking who is that. I'll write it in the comments. Ingrid.
Yeah, someone's
Andrews.
asking who was that. We've got. I feel terrible.
Played that song at the camp, like that night when they'd written it, and everyone was just like, "Oh no." You know, like
go back to the drawing board type thing.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, Varren. Someone's saying, what was the name of the art? Oh, Ingrid Andress. Okay.
Ingrid Andress. Yeah, I'm about to. Yeah, there is someone did it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm reading all these amazing questions. It's very hard. You think 90 minutes is a long time? It really isn't to go through all of these questions. And we have incredibly reached the moment that I have to thank you all for your wisdom, your experience, your just inspiring stories, and I think all of you are just incredible individuals, and I'd love to work with all of you. James is the only one I've worked with, and we haven't done a session for years anyway. I'm Cleo, Rxwntree. I'd love to do some
100%.
100%. I'll get the mic fired up, right? I'm ready.
Do a Zoom session, man.
Yeah, 100%. We have to. And look, all of you watching, I hope you had something to take away from this. It's not an easy year for you. I can see people saying, how do I keep motivated? Listen to the music, listen to those songs that you love that inspire you, and just absorb yourselves, find your inspiration and hold it for when you're ready, for when the time comes. Connect with people. There's a lot of lonely writers out there that, this just might be the time where you meet your crew, as Hannah put it. Make your room, build your room.
Maegan,
yes.
If anyone wants to, I just want to put last point. If anyone wants to, like, I know for me for sure, if anyone wants to like ask any more questions away from the panel, feel free to like hit me up on any of the socials. Varren, I'm sure everyone else could say the same thing, and I'm sure we'll all answer questions, because I know when we first started out, we would have loved to have people that would like connect with us and just answer simple questions. So if anyone needs anything, just hit us up, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, Varren, and same with the rest of the guys as well.
Thank you for that, Varren. I'm sure a lot of people are going to take you up on that, and same for me. Hit me up on Insta at Maegan Cottone, as it's spelled right there.
Can I give you guys one tip as well, Cleo?
What's that, Trey?
I've got a friend who's a really good songwriter, yeah, but her tip is she writes her last line first.
There you go.
Wow, that's cool.
I learned that today too. Thank you for that.
So for anyone, try that one.
That's amazing.
Giving away secrets, man.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So
can I say something too? Sorry, just quick one. Guys, the only thing I want to say is, let's never forget why we got into music. It's not about the hits. It's not about the numbers. Music is hope. It's feeling. It's emotion. It's our job as artists to be able to put words for situations people can't. So never forget that. That's where it all stems from. We can't forget that. Forget the numbers. Forget about the numbers. Keep that in mind.
And I'm just going to call you Oprah from now on. How's that? Okay, right? So I call you Oprah. So again, thank you for watching. The next up is Major Mindset. Don't miss it. This is the place to be on a Saturday in 2020 online. Come on, guys, online. So I've got to keep waffling until someone cuts me off, okay? No, but seriously, like what Ultimate Seminar is doing for people, I think is so important. Thank you. Look, all these comments. We've got Tighe saying love to Cleo. You've got a fan, Cleo. Here we go. Yeah, look, Sandra May saying she's linked up with our Instas already. Chloe Castro, big love to you, girlfriend. Amazing panels, says Miko Karu. And Ruby, thank you for coming. Bruya, Dre, Simon Ashwood, Nandi. Look, all these amazing people. I hope you go and feed the fire with all this stuff. This is amazing.
Yes, sir.
What do we do? Do we click the button?
Do we leave?
Wave. We're waving. This was
waving.
the introduction. We
Wave us out. Wave us out.
Let's do a wave. Let's do like
the end credits.
Like we do the outro song.
Credits. What we need a theme song. Quick, someone make a beat. Come on.
Still the one from Cheers.
No, right? I can see people for the next one. Oh, we've got Rich Castillo. Those who are watching are in for a treat.
Oh yeah, that's the guru right there.
Yeah. And Andy Varley, see, look, they're all coming on. We've got Austin Dabo. I'm doing your intros already. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my goodness.
I'm tuning in for the next one for sure.
Oh yeah.
How do I send secret questions in?
Secret.
What anonymous account?
Got to sign up to the thing already.
I'm gonna be a rogue agent.
It's been great. I'm so glad to talk to you guys as well. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've learned things as well.
I know. I
It's so fun.
They're really inspired.
Yeah, I think that definitely.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Well, we could do our own camp and then show everybody what we come up with.
Yeah, the ultimate seminar camp.
Yeah.
I'm down. That's actually a good idea. That's a great idea.
For real.
Why not? Yeah. We could definitely do it. Yeah, we better schedule that in. I think Kwame can help us do that.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
No, definitely. I've had such a good afternoon. I was super nervous at the beginning, but I mean, look.
Yeah.
You smashed it, babe. You did so well.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your love, thanks. So thank you very much. Maybe I have a career in hosting after all.
Good morning,
You're
Charlie.
natural. You're natural. You're totally, yeah.
And I'm not a natural. I just love the sound of my own voice. Amazing. All right, then it's time to go over to the Major Mindset panel. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.